Welcome. I'm Trevor Roberts, and this is Duck News. Well, in celebration of Women's Month, Lone Star College and director Ron Jones are bringing to the stage the production of Constant Star. Written by modern playwright Tazewell Thompson, Constant Star is the biographical of Ida B. Wells, a journalist from the early 1900s who led the crusade against lynching in America. She also fought for civil rights and helped to found the NAACP. Her story has been little known until Tazewell saw a PBS biographical on her life. He believed this woman's life would be an inspiration to millions. The show runs April 16th to April 19th at the Lone Star CyFair campus. You can purchase tickets at the theater's box office, or for more information, go to LoneStar.edu. And here's Brent Lindquist with director Ron Jones.
Thanks, Trevor. I'm sitting here with the professor of drama and the director of theater, Ron Jones, whose current production is Constant Star. It's not a fairly well-known story, but it is a pretty dramatic story. Could you give us a little background on Constant Star?
Yes, absolutely. You're right. I don't think that a lot of people know the history of Ida B. Wells. And to me, that was one of the reasons to tell the story, was because it's a wonderful story, and many people don't know it. So I knew a little about Ida B. Wells myself because I had directed a play several years ago in which she was one of the figures. And so I read a review of Tazewell Thompson's play, Constant Star, and when I found out that it was about Ida B. Wells, I became interested in that project for us at the college, because I felt that it was a life that deserved to be celebrated, and I think that plays are celebrations of life, and this was a particular life that I thought was very interesting and that people should know about. So I contacted the playwright's agent, and we negotiated for a while, and eventually, through the playwright's intervention, it was decided that he didn't want to do an educational production before having a professional production in Houston. So I said, that's fine, just as long as you realize that I'm going to direct it wherever it is. So I went to the Ensemble Theater, where Eileen Morris, who is the artistic director, is a good friend of mine, and I said, what do you think about this script? And she had already read it, and she had actually seen a couple of productions of it, and she said, I love this play. And it was actually she who made the suggestion that we do a collaboration between the Ensemble Theater, which of course is Houston's premier African-American theater, and Lone Star College CyFair. So that's how the venture came about.
And not just the story's unique, but basically the production. Tazewell Thompson's actually, the production of this is pretty unique to where it's got a lot of music, but it's not a musical.
That's true. I would call it a play with music. Essentially, Ida B. Wells was a suffragette who was instrumental in getting the vote for women and for African Americans. But beyond that, she was almost single-handedly led the campaign to have anti-lynching legislation passed in Congress. So she really was a formidable woman. She was born in early 1860 and she died in 1930. And she was far beyond her time. And I think that's one of the reasons why she was such an incredible person in history. But Tazewell Thompson decided that he would, instead of just having one actor play the role of Ida B. Wells, which is often done with biographical pieces like this, there'll be one person who'll portray that person in a one-man show. What he decided to do was to take 5 actors and have those 5 actors play different aspects of Ida B. Wells' personality at different times in her life. So there are 5 actors playing one character, essentially. And one of the elements that he decided to incorporate into the piece is the element of music. And he felt because of her background, she had a very religious background, that probably the best kind of music to use would be traditional Negro spirituals. And so the show has about 16 songs. And the interesting thing about the music in the show is that Mr. Thompson wanted all the music to be sung without musical accompaniment. So all the songs are sung a cappella in 5-part harmony, which makes it certainly a very, very interesting aspect of the show. And quite honestly, it was a difficult aspect of the show because singing 5-part harmony in a cappella is not an easy thing to do, especially when you have to start off on a note that everybody else has to adjust to. So the musical director, who was wonderful, Dwayne Davis, worked with them, with the actors, and brought them to a point where they can start off on exactly the right note, and if for some reason they don't start on the right note, the voices can adjust so that maybe they're singing the song, not an octave, but one level above or one level below in which it's actually written. So that's been certainly a challenge for them.
So was that probably your biggest challenge in this production? Or?
Not necessarily. There's a lot of dance in this show as well that we added because I felt that the element of movement was very, very important to this piece because she was such a vibrant woman. So we've incorporated a lot of dance in the show that accompanies the music.
So did you have to get Thompson's approval to add the dance to the production?
No, he was actually very supportive and quite happy to have us do anything we could to enhance the production. So we did add dance. And then I think another interesting aspect that was challenging is trying to incorporate all 5 characters so that the audience is not confused about who is who. They don't all play Ida B. Wells throughout the show because some of them play people who were instrumental in Ida B. Wells' life, her husband, her siblings, her workers who worked for her, all those people. So all 5 of the actresses just kind of go back and forth playing different characters throughout the play. So for me, one of the challenges was making sure that the audience understood that from the very beginning. So what I did was there's a song that opens the show. That's the first thing that happens. And then after that, there is a speech from each of the 5 Ida B. Wells. And so what I did was I had them all gather around essentially a podium, and the first Ida B. Wells came up and delivered her speech, and then she took the place of the person who was going up next, and they delivered their speech. And evidently the audience understood that because many people commented to me, I understood from the beginning that it was 5 people who were playing her.
That's good. So maybe more American history should be taught with dance and music, and we'd learn more.
Perhaps. I mean, I think that I always try to incorporate as much dance and music into every show that I do because it's interesting, it's entertaining for people to watch, and it's a part of our lives. Yeah. Music is a part of our lives. I'll drive home today and listen to the radio, right. And so I just think that it's something that we are familiar with and that we like and that enhances.
And with this a part of American history that most people aren't familiar with, and in blending the music and dance, and it sounds like a fantastic production. So we look forward to seeing it and hope everybody comes out to see it as well. This is Brent Lundquist with Director Ron Jones of Constant Star. Thanks.